So here we are, the brush tool. So the brush tool is found on your toolbar. Right down here, it's this little icon. Right here, we're just going to select the regular brush tool. And we are going to use this is going to be very, very simple, the soft round brush. So when you go up here to the top left, you'll see an ability to make your brush size bigger. So we're going to go down to our general brushes, and we want to load the soft round brush. This kind of has a feathering effect to it, and I use this probably way more than any other default brush. So let's select the soft round brush, and let's go ahead and make it 100 point size. I have it labeled here so you can know what to make it. So 100 point, this is where you change the size of your brush. I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And now I'm going to take my brush tool, and you'll notice I have this kind of symbol. It's not letting me create anything. It says could not use the brush tool because no layers are selected. I got to create my layer. So I'm just going to go down here. I always got to make sure to create my layer, and this will be the soft round brush. So now I have a layer to draw on. So let's change it. We can change it to like a gray or let's do blue so we can kind of paint over it and see how we do here. So we have a blue color. We're going to click and drag. So you'll notice I'm trying to do my best to match it, but it's not perfect. So we could try our little hold down shift trick. So I'm going to hold down my shift key, then click and drag, and I can make it a perfect, no matter what I move here, I can make it a perfect line. So I'm going to hold down shift and drag, and I could go back over it a second time. You'll notice how it makes it a little bit thicker. It's almost like painting it on over and over and over. See that? So let's do a hard round brush. So I'm going to go up here to the top. I'm going to select hard round right below it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold down shift, click, and drag. And so look at that. Nice, perfect size. If I were to not hold down shift, I'm not really that good with my mouse. So, so definitely holding down shift really helps it make nice and smooth. So let's reduce the brush size. Let's reduce it to 30 points. You can type it in manually or you can slide it. Sometimes I just like to double click and type it in manually. Now I can do my best to match it up. I can zoom in, click, shift, hold, and there's the hard round brush. Very, very basic brush kind of tools. There's all sorts of things we're going to do with it later when we do layering masks and we paint on layering masks. We'll do that later. So here's another little challenge with opacity. We've already kind of talked about opacity a little bit, but we're going to do it right here. We're going to go to our layers panel. We're going to make sure we're on 100% opacity, 100% strength, and we are going to, I believe that's 100 points, and it doesn't have to match perfectly. We're just practicing opacity. Let's go ahead and click, shift, and go down. Let's make that a different color. So I'm going to go down here to my color, my fill right down here. Let's make it orange so we can see what we're doing. Click, hold down shift, and drag. That's 100%. So let's do a 75% opacity. And I have my brush tool selected. So instead of just creating another line, you notice all this is connected. So if I make this 75%, it's going to change both of them. I want to have individual control over everything I do. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to create a new layer. And now this is going to be an independent layer that I can change. And there we go. It's all independent. Make a new layer. And definitely name yours. Sometimes I have so many layers, it's too long to rename stuff, but I highly encourage you to name your layers if you want to take the time. Some people are lazy, like myself. It's okay. Create a new layer, click, hold, and that'll be 25. That kind of helps you remember to create a new layer with each new thing you do, especially when you're changing different opacities. You don't want them to all be connected. Sometimes you want them all to be connected. You can just keep it all on the same layer. So we did the worksheet. There's only one little thing we have left as an extra challenge, and we're going to do that next. This is the very, very, very basics of Adobe Photoshop. This is great if you're brand new to Adobe Photoshop. Hopefully you got used to the layering system and just creating basic shapes and using the type tool. We're going to take what we've learned in the last 20 to 30 minutes and we're going to do the challenge right here. It's a challenge. We're going to create a simple social media post and we're going to put a headline on top of a photo, and I'm even going to make it a little bit more complicated and throw in a couple shapes too. It's going to really help us practice that layering system. And then after that, we're going to start to tackle some pretty cool projects in Photoshop. So we're going to be able to go over these same tools over and over again with repetition so that you don't feel afraid that you have to master this before moving on. Just keep moving through those lessons and you're going to get really familiar with this just through repetition and practice and time.